Hey guys, there's been discussion about procs in my Discord, and I just decided to make a short video exclusively focusing on proc. So, proc is actually procedure. I hope you guys could see the text. I've made it as big as I can without, I don't know, ruining things. So, um, what a procedure is it's just a custom set of functions. It's just a custom a call, um, basically. So what you do when you want to make a proc is you type in your proc here, all caps, and you name whatever you want. You give it whatever name you want. I recommend having it start with proc just so you can you know the difference between a call and a proc that you've defined. So here you can define, you can give it as many attributes as you want here. So you can say, you know, a character, you could say after that, comma, item, GUID, underscore item, so on and so forth. As many as you'd like, you can do that. I recommend just using what you need. So in this case, the procedure here is when somebody drinks a alcoholic beverage in the game, they have a chance of getting a status of drunk. Oh, sorry, this one is they already have the status of drunk on them, and they have a chance of falling down, getting knocked down, drunk. So here in this proc, I just named it what I wanted, and then the character. Um, it'll house the character in this proc here that I've defined, and then you kind of list off what what needs to happen when this proc is called later on. You want to have your procs before any of the if and then statements, so you want to define your procs beforehand. So in this case, the character has an active status of drunk. So this is a Boolean yes or true. And I'm going to grab a random number from 0 to 10 and then grab a random number here. And if random number is less than 2, then you're going to apply the status knock down drunk for 4 turns at a force of 1. So I made a custom status where they knock down, they fall down basically, and they say stuff like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so drunk," or something like that. And then there is another proc that'll fire at the same time or after this one. Basically the same thing, the same kind of thing, and then this time it goes with out of random 20, or it'll grab a random number from 0 to 20, and if the random number is above 18, then you're going to create surface water of such and such size around the player or the character. It'll be and it'll apply, this knockdown drunk will be applied for longer, and the character will say, "I pissed myself." It's just something I like to do when people are drunk in the game, I guess. It's kind of funny. Anyways, so here's kind of where everything else is defined. So when you define a proc, you have to use it somewhere, right? You can't just have a proc empty. So here's where I've set the proc to fire, right? So if the timer finishes drunk timer, and there's a NPC in the drunk database, and he's got an active status of drunk, a timer launches. So they walk around for about 13 seconds, and then this proc fires after that. And once this 13 seconds is up, then it fires again, and it kind of loops until they're no longer drunk. But this fires every 13 seconds. It'll fire up. And what it does is it pretty much just rolls the dice whether they're going to fall down or fall down and pee their pants. And this is an easy way to just have a call of instead of doing this and coding it every single time with the randoms and stuff like that. It's just easy to set the proc and then reference it down here, you know. And that's all it really is. You can make the proc as complicated as you want. You can make it as simple as you want. It really, it's up to you. But that's all that really is. It's just you name it something, have it complete, have it kind of meet a certain criteria, and then you can apply other procs in there too. So like this is a proc character move to. Character move to is pretty complicated. There's a lot of stuff going on here. I'll zoom in here. The proc character move to, they have a character, a point, whether they're running, and an event name. They have four things going on here. And then they have, on top of that, they have, when the then statement comes on, they have 4 calls that are also procs, of their own. So they do a lot of things, or this proc alone does a lot of things. And this is a good way to condense a lot of these calls, because imagine typing out every single one of these. After the then statement, you'd have 20 or 30 calls that follow. It can get lost in coding. So this is a really easy way to condense a lot of calls into one proc. So it fires up. So when you have procs that go one right after the other, such as in here, this proc will finish in its entirety, then this proc will fire. None of these fire at the same time. It goes in order. This one first, after it's done, after it's complete, then this one. After it's done, then this one, and so on and so forth. The database storage is also important. Databases are very much like procs. You can actually reference databases with an if statement. So like say if database story moving character one, right? You define your thing, and if something is added to this database, then something can happen, right? So it's very similar to that. But with procs, as far as that goes, that's all there really is to it. You just define, you name your proc up here after saying proc, and you define what you want in your proc, right? And by doing that, like these don't mean anything. You're just saying what they're going to be doing, right? Because running and stuff, that'll happen in behaviors and stuff like that. Where is that? It's right here. Proc execute move to. Running is defined somewhere else. So, or this integer that is. So, but anyways, that's really all you do. And then you just have a list of things that you want to happen when this proc is fired in another then statement. Anyways, I hope this kind of cleared things up. This is more of a general understanding of how procs work. It's up to you to really explore this, and you'll see a lot of procs that have the same kind of thing going on, where it'll have a proc character move to, it'll have some definition, and then it'll have the same exact proc with some things filled in already. You'll see a lot of that too. It's best to edit, find, replace, and just search these procs up. The best, sorry, not the best, but the ones that will have these defined, what they are, like string, integer, real, those are your base procs. That's where it all starts. That's where it's built. So if you want to know how the procs are built, find those first. So like for instance, this character move to and talk. It gives you They said that they want a character, a target, a dialogue, automated move event. They have all sorts of stuff here, and they define what, or they tell you what they are. It's so much that actually the scroll bar won't take it. It doesn't scroll that far for some reason, but there it is. Right, and then so after, and they use all those things in character move to and talk call, and as well as these databases. There's a lot of databases floating around all the time that get sorted, resorted, added to, and subtracted. So you'll see those. Don't get those confused with procs either. Procs are just a simple way to fire up a call that is more complicated than a regular call. You know, instead of, like I said before, instead of having and this is what I used to do, and I kind of wish I had something prepared where I showed that because I used to have just let me see, maybe I can find something like this. Like if the player enters a trigger, there's just a bunch of calls that happen afterwards. I could have probably simplified this in a proc, but because this is a one-time thing, I decided to do it this way. But if you're finding yourself, okay, they're going to cross this trigger, and I want the same thing happen every time, you're copying and pasting all these. It's just better to make a proc and just say, hey, player, and just have a player and a trigger GUID. An example of that is something like this. Proc character entered trigger. And that's all. That's it. So now you've named the proc, you've given it what the Osiris is expecting to find in this field, and what Osiris is expecting to find in this field. And then you just then pretty much all this stuff would go after the then. I'm going to delete this so it doesn't get confused. But that's all that really is. Pause if you need to on that other one just to see. But that's what a procedure is, a proc is. Okay. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to my Discord, and I'll answer as many as I can. I'm not available all the time, but I am always lurking. All righty. Thanks for watching.